Welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice and making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 969-KTRS.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, hello, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement. You're live and local, St. Louis's favorite financial call-in show. I'm Jeff Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services. Our offices are located in beautiful, sunny, downtown Olivet, Missouri. We're only 2 blocks west of the Inner Belt in our new headquarters.
International headquarters.
Thank you. International headquarters. Life is good, and we help our clients make smart choices about their money.
The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a written step-by-step strategy, a real game plan with several goals in mind.
First is to preserve, protect, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate. Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one that they can count on, so they can do all the things they'd like to do during retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their health care needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to supplement their medical coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be. Well, Uncle Sam or the tax court's taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth advisors, Aaron and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Good morning, babe.
Good morn.
You know, I didn't introduce us this morning.
You skipped the whole thing.
I skipped the whole thing. I'm Jeff Lapidus, my daughter, Erin. We're both financial advisors.
Representatives.
A few more years of experience than she has today, but...
A few. 100. I was just kidding.
Man, it's early, isn't it? You like that, don't you?
That's good.
You enjoy me being your straight man. I appreciate that, babe. And just as a reminder to folks, all of our clients are folks like you. They're our listeners. They're 55 and older. They'd like to retire, or they're already retired.
You kind of walked right into that one, though, I feel.
Is it that hard for me to set you up? I mean,
not really. Just swing at anything.
Yeah. I mean, the I'm old is a real easy one. Like, you're young. Now, you thought I was going to go other places.
I did.
We'll do that later in the show. Thank you. But again, our clients are all of our folks, just like you, they're listeners, and we'd love to hear from you this morning. We're live and local. 314-931-5877, star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line. We have a lot of fun things on our show we want to talk about today, but we know you've got things on your mind, so let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
That's right.
It's fun. It's fun to do. Also, as a reminder, there are ways to keep in touch with us during the week.
That's right. You can log on to our website, jblfinancial.com. You can click in the upper right-hand corner. It says Contact Us if you'd like to schedule a coaching session, if you have a question that you'd like answered, or if you just have a comment. We try to respond to those within 24 hours. Or you can click on the lower left-hand side of the screen in a pop-up box that says Sign Up for our monthly newsletter. We call it the Coach's Corner.
And Erin and her staff to keep the last 6 to 8 months of those archived for your viewing, printing, or downloading convenience.
We also have some great videos and other content on the website if you're interested in taking a look. We have clips from the shows that talk about specific topics, and you're also welcome to follow us on Twitter, JBL Financial, or friend us on Facebook, JBL Financial there as well. We try and keep some good information about community events and things going on, not just financial information.
It's all fun.
It's retirement planning information too.
Again, it's called our website, jblfinancial.com. So, babe, we usually go over, sometimes in detail, we're halfway through the month, the 4 articles in each one of our
Yes.
monthly newsletter.
Well, the first article is an infographic. IRAs are top tool for retirement plan savings.
Woohoo!
So it's just reflective of how much money happens to be in each type of retirement plan. Then we have a quiz. How well do you understand retirement plan rules? We did one question last week. I think we should do another.
Sounds like fun. I guess you're going to query me.
I'm going to query you. I'm the one with the letter
Yes.
of news.
Okay.
If you retire or otherwise leave your employer after age 55, you can take penalty-free distributions from your 401k plan. You can't do that if you roll over your 401k assets into an IRA.
Absolutely true.
That is correct.
Well, of course it is, honey. I know the rules.
Well, I just wanted everyone else to know that you know the rules.
Yeah, and really we're talking about, especially for many folks that are retiring pre-normal retirement age, i.e. their Social Security benefit, between 55 and 59 and a half.
That's right.
This is where this, magical time is where
It's a special rule.
it's a special rule so that you can withdraw money from a retirement account, 401k that is, without that pre-59 and a half penalty once you move to an IRA.
There are ways to extract money from it without penalty. However, they're more restrictive.
Yes. 72T is one way, and we'll talk about that another day.
Absolutely.
Unless somebody asks us about it.
Right. And this is a little bit different than many 401k plans allow for what's called an in-service distribution. That means if you're currently working and you might, for some reason, either need access to funds or potentially you no longer like your employer plan options, you want to move it, you want to be able to self-direct with more options than what your 401k plan offers, you might want to roll it into an IRA. That some plans allow for that.
Yes, and again, what happens is if you do an in-service distribution and you do it before 59 and a half, then you really blow up this ability to pull money out of that plan because now you're an IRA. So guess what? Now you're subject to 59 and a half rules.
That's right. So there's either a 10% penalty for early withdrawal or you have a much more restricted withdrawal schedule available to you.
And I would just mention that if you're considering this,
definitely want to hear all the options first.
Yes, you really want to talk to a financial professional before making a decision because there are a lot of interlocking rules here. And at the same time, we just had one yesterday.
Yes, we had a question from a
person that we like, one of our clients who
we like very much. Well, we like all of our clients very much.
Yes,
we're
we
very
do.
friendly with this particular client, and he happened to have already taken. He is currently employed. He works for a company that has a 401k plan. He has already taken the maximum loan amount available to him,
which is $50,000 or half your account, whichever is greater.
Right, because the COVID rules from last year are no longer in place. They had allowed up to $100,000 without penalty for last year's issues.
And he'd already
maxed out what he could take as a loan, but he needed access to more cash. So basically what we came up with was the best option, if his plan allows, is to do that in-service distribution of the amount that he needs, meaning he's going to take the money, he's going to have to pay the taxes on it, but because he's over 55, he might be able to pull that money out.
Yeah, so he could do an in-service withdrawal really of up to 100% of his account less the $50,000 loan he has.
Right.
Still continue to participate in the plan. And, when we talk about participate, you can put money in, but as you know, when you have a 401k loan,
it's going to repay the loan.
That's right. They take that out of your ordinary income also as well. So in his particular case, this may be a good option for him if he's over 59 and a half, which I believe he is.
Over 55.
He's over 55 to do distribution, but once he does that to his IRA,
he's going to pay a penalty on taking the money out.
Right. Which isn't always the best option, but
if you need it, you need it.
Well, you got to do what you got to do.
Right.
But again, knowing the rules and speaking to somebody that understands the rules is extremely important because that's how you avoid mistakes.
Right. The next article, growing interest in socially responsible investing.
Yes.
So these are there are different strategies that the mutual fund companies have worked to develop that. And many funds have worked to develop, maybe not just mutual funds, that incorporate socially responsible investing, either if that's renewable energy or potentially like the Ave Maria funds that have specific investment objectives that leave out certain things like tobacco, alcohol, gambling, things like that.
Yeah, so we're getting a little bit more focused and targeted investing options available for you, which is good.
That's right.
What's our last article?
Your business, minimum wage laws in the spotlight. So this is for individuals that might own businesses that are paying minimum wage.
And we do have many small, closely held companies, private companies that are clients, and we do consulting with those folks as well, not just on healthcare or in retirement planning, but also on healthcare and other consulting matters. We're going to talk about one of those today.
Yes, we are.
Which I think is fun. Again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 931-5877, star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the popular text line that we have. Love to hear from you. Babe, again, what I'd like to do is, I think this week we had decided that we were going to focus on several, I'll call them emails or inquiries we received from the Contact Us section of the website, because we do have folks that do ask insightful questions. And this one, let's start with John.
Okay.
John was fun because I received John, not an email also, but a phone call this week. And John mentioned that he was turning 60 this last week, and we said happy birthday, of course. When I called the show 2 years ago, you and Aaron told me that I had to wait until age 60 to elect the survivor benefit on my spouse's Social Security account. Now that I'm 60, is this the right time? And this is a question we often ask. Unfortunately, there are folks that, divorces, we don't have this. It's widows.
Correct.
Widows or widowers.
Because if you are divorced, you do have access, if you were married for 10 full years, to your ex-spouse's benefit. That's called, that is a spousal benefit, which is different than the survivor benefit. Spousal benefit, the max that you can get is 50% of your spouse's benefit, and that is not, you're not eligible to even apply until you are 62, just like if you were applying for your own Social Security benefit. Whereas if your spouse has passed away, and in this rule, you only have to be married for 1 day in order to have access to a survivor benefit, you are eligible 2 years earlier at age 60.
And we know that this is a yes and no answer because we need to add some facts. The first one is John, and speaking with John, he mentioned that he's currently earning $54,000 a year, nice living, and he plans to continue to work until at least his normal retirement age, which is 67. He has no children. Obviously, if he did, he would be, or they would have already been eligible to receive benefits. And his wife's normal retirement age benefit was $2,400 per month. How much of that does he get when he applies, especially if he was consider applying today? Not an easy calculation, right?
No, it's not. It looks like we're going to do some calculus here.
Right. So what happened is that we know that when you're electing on someone else's account, that's cool, but it's also the key thing here is your age.
Right.
So we know that if you're electing prior to your normal retirement age, you've got to discount that benefit by 8% per year.
Correct.
So in this case, we're discounting this by almost 32%. So if her normal retirement benefit was $2,400, 68% of that would have been $1,632 per month.
That's right. And also, if John happens to be currently employed,
which we know he is,
then
and earning $54,000 a year,
well, then that means he's going to lose $1 of Social Security benefit for every 2 over the $17,000, which is the current income limitation if you're under normal retirement age.
So if you go $2 times 17,000, which is 34,000, you subtract that from 54,000, which is what his income is 17. Guess what?
You're going to get $0.
Zippity doodah.
That's no good.
No, if he was earning less than 54,000, then he would be eligible for some level of a benefit there. But again,
be very minimal.
It's going to be very minimal. So the question becomes, should he apply for it or not? Well, I think the answer really would be yes.
Probably should wait.
Well, if he can get any benefit,
Mm-hmm.
then the answer would be yes, because
Right, because you're also able to switch over to your own benefit with the survivor benefit, whereas with spousal benefits, when you elect, then there is no longer any deeming, so you can't switch.
Yeah, and certainly if his income ever falls below $52,000, that would be cool. But the other thing would be is that we know that in the last year or the year that he's turning normal retirement age, that $17,000 jumps up.
That's right. It's closer to 45 now, I believe.
Right. So in John's case, then what happens is if he actually decided to wait,
Mm-hmm.
which in theory, in this point, he would have to wait because he's getting zero.
Mm-hmm.
He waits until then, he could actually get a benefit because he's making 52.
And also, if you're waiting,
the threshold's 44. So
and the 32% discount starts to drop as well, because every
Right.
year you wait, you get to add 8% more to what your benefit will be.
at the same time, it's also smart for him not to elect today at zero because
Mm-hmm.
he's really locked in whatever that benefit percentage would have been, even though he's getting zero for, let's say, 3 years.
Right, so you don't do that.
Yeah. So
But also, here was a good question John had.
yes,
He said,
did.
well, I'm making $54,000 a year, but I participate in my 401k plan, so I'm making pre-tax contributions. Does that change the math?
Well, could it?
No.
Bummer.
Because
Because
it's
it's
based
Social
on
Security
wages.
wages.
Exactly, which is great which is, not the greatest on the one side, but that was a clever question.
Yeah. How do we deal with how can we get that number down? And the problem is that you can't,
Right.
right? His next question was, is there a relationship between me taking this money and Medicare?
There is a relationship. However, you're not going to be subject to any of the restraints of the relationship until you get to 65, because you're not Medicare eligible until then. So just because you are eligible for Social Security, this is true for everyone, even those that do not aren't looking at the survivor benefit. So if you're 62 and you take Social Security, 63, 64, nothing happens because you're not eligible for Medicare yet. But as soon as you are eligible for Medicare and you've already enrolled in your Social Security benefit, you're automatically going to get Part A, which you cannot reverse. You're also automatically going to get Part B, however, you can reverse that. So what happens is the government assumes if you've already taken your Social Security benefit that you also are going to want Medicare when you turn 65. That's not necessarily true for everyone, especially if what happens if you are you've taken the spousal benefit, but your spouse is still working, so you have access to group health insurance. Well, you wanted your Social Security because you were retired, your spouse isn't, but you're already on a health insurance plan. You don't want Medicare.
Right.
Well, you can send...
And John is in the same boat because he
Yes.
says he's going to work past 65.
Right.
So if he was to get his B card, he has to send it back.
Right. So all you have to do is, as opposed to keeping the card, you send it back, and then they don't enroll you in Medicare Part B. But you will be enrolled in Medicare Part A. Also, there is what's called a hold harmless agreement between Social Security and Medicare. So for many people, this protects them, which means, as many people know, the cost of living adjustment for Social Security is determined by Congress every year and the president. Well, if Social Security does not give a cost of living adjustment, then Medicare is not allowed to raise the the base premium. They can continue to charge the extra based on your income adjustment, but they can't raise the base premium. But if you are not enrolled in Social Security, you are not a benefactor of the hold harmless agreement, which means that if you are on Medicare but not Social Security, then they can raise your Medicare Part B premium. You might want to do the math on if it makes sense to take. In most cases, it's not going to make sense because when they raise the Medicare premium, it's by dollars. It's not by hundreds of dollars, whereas your Social Security benefit is a little different.
You know a lot of stuff.
I heard someone say that once.
Yes, you did. And his last one, which I think, honey, you already addressed. Can I switch over to my Social Security benefit later when I've reached 67 and then basically drop the survivor benefit?
You're only able to switch over if you've taken the survivor benefit now. It's the only option that's the only time that you're able to switch your benefit, unless your benefit automatically switches if your spouse predeceases you and they happen to have a larger benefit, then you automatically are able to take theirs. So you could switch to the survivor benefit in some situations. he's doing this on the front end. I'm taking the survivor benefit and then eventually my own. Many people do it in the reverse. They've taken their own benefit. Their spouse happens to have a higher benefit. They're able to take that benefit and drop their own benefit when their spouse passes away.
Yeah, and with John, because he's electing to do this at 60, there's no way that his benefit's always going to be larger than his wife's. His spouse's would have been, or is, because of this big discount.
That's right.
So that was a really good question. I mean, it was a complex one.
Now we have 2 really good text questions to answer already.
Woo! Lay them upon me.
First, hello. As I get closer to retirement, I equally think about retirement lifestyle, not just retirement financing. That's pretty smart.
Absolutely.
Definitely want to do that.
Yep.
So other than retire sooner, save more, what are some of the common regrets you see in your clients? I'm thinking second home, RV, etc. Also, how long do you see those go-go years lasting within your community? Those are 2 really good questions.
Yeah. Let's do the second one first.
People in retirement are very active.
Yes, they are.
Very active.
Especially if they're healthy. And generally, we see our clients being healthy usually deep into their 70s, early 80s.
And we even have many energetic clients that are in their 80s.
No question about that. But I would say usually late 70s, early 80s is when we see, I want to call it the travel side, start to slow down a little bit.
Right.
And there's reasons for that. It's either grandma, grandpa, or great-grandma, grandpa-ville. Sometimes it's health. Sometimes, frankly, it's...
desire. You may have seen all that you wanted to see.
Yeah. I mean, with COVID, people didn't want to go. Now they couldn't go. Now they can go.
Right.
Cool. And the second one was... The first question really was...
Do we see
is it regrets?
Any common regrets?
Yeah. I think one's pretty uniform.
What's that?
Wish I would have went earlier.
Interesting. But he said other than retire sooner or save more. So he already assumed. I don't know why I'm assuming this person is a male.
Wish I would have gone earlier is cool. Didn't save enough. Those are whiners.
Oh, my goodness.
The truth is that there's never enough.
Well, also, I'm not sure if the texture meant I'm thinking second home RV as mistakes or as benefits. Like, was it a mistake to buy the second home or the RV, or was it a benefit to buy the second home or RV? Because we have many clients that have gone the RV route, and they seem to absolutely love it.
Yes.
Many clients, in fact. And they do it in different ways. Some have a smaller RV, they've kept their home, and they're doing local travel or, regional travel. Others have completely divested of property in specific locations in replacement of the RV, and they're just traveling around enjoying themselves.
I would say that if we talk about a regret, if it's in regard to me, those are both what I would call alternative housing situations, RVs versus second homes, is, making this decision. I've had a second home before, okay? I don't have one now. I think the regret is that in many cases, people purchase these properties before they retire, and in many cases, they just don't have an opportunity to take advantage of them.
And it's a big one sometimes.
Yeah, and it's double bills, double real estate taxes, double
repairs.
Water, always repairs. So I think that what we like to try to do is query our clients as much as we can about how they see their life and the usage.
Right.
If you're not going to, in truth, if you're not going to be using a second property or having other family members that you like,
or potentially,
and that's hard to find sometimes.
And also, or if you have decided that maybe you're going to use it as a rental.
Right. If you're going to go and do it as a rental, I mean, I can understand that. But if it's just really personal usage, if you're not going to be using it at least a third of the year, at least 30% of the year, you have to really ask yourself the question is why. Now, if it's a bucket list deal,
and you're bound and determined,
it's okay. I mean, you're allowed to have these things. I mean, if it's ego, that's okay too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, and we do a lot of things because of ego. I mean, look at your cars. I mean, not everybody, cars tend to reflect yourself and your personality and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's not just, what's the most utilitarian vehicle I can have. So
Right.
our job, I think, is to try to help our clients separate their feelings on these things.
Well,
help them vet really where are they coming to, and then it comes to a conclusion where you're going to do it.
Well, also, we have quite a few clients where their grandchildren reside in a different state, and now that they've retired, grandma and grandpa want to follow the kids and the grandkids. And we often talk about not jumping into purchasing a property, even if you know that you're absolutely going to purchase something. Maybe it's a good idea, and even if you are, looking at this as a rental, as a vacation home, it's not next to the family, to rent in more than one place in that area over the course of time to really determine your new habits in this place, where you like, what part of town you like to be in, what you're going to be doing there, how far do you want to drive to get to your gym, your church, the grocery store, things like that.
Your doctors.
Right. How close do you
the
really
golf course.
How close do you really want to be to your children? They have different needs when they're raising their kids versus what you might want to do in all the time that you're not having grandma and grandpa time, or in all the time that, if you've picked a vacation place that you've only vacationed in one season, what's it like in all the other seasons? Are you in a high traffic area during that time? Do you not want to be there? All those questions need to be answered, or should be.
Yeah, and unfortunately, the feelings that are there with folks in terms of purchasing these second place, it can be overwhelming.
Absolutely.
And there's
also you want to get it done.
So if you want to know what regrets are sometimes making decisions that just feel right and they seem right, and you look back 2 or 3 years later and go,
maybe not the best choice.
I wasn't the smartest. So, and we are seeing our clients, some of them as they're getting older, if they're doing this in their 60s, generally is what happens, or after they retire. In their 70s, their mid-70s, their late 70s, then they're looking at divesting.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Just because you purchased something doesn't mean selling it was a proof of error. It just means your needs have now changed.
And, we're not easy about this. We make you send us pictures.
Right. We want to see the fun. Come on.
Right. We're helping, hopefully we're helping generate the capital to create these things. And at the same time, it really is fun to enjoy with them. And, I can get a little jealous.
So I've been contemplating, how all the other many other shows, not just financial, they say like the first 10 callers get X.
Uh-huh.
And we don't do that.
That's good because we don't have anything to give away.
Right. But I'm thinking a different type of contest.
Okay.
I'm thinking like we'll have to do the research before we actually
I see.
do this. But and by we I mean me. How often do you refer to your potential grandchildren over the last X amount of time? Whoever can guess the closest, I don't know what you'll get, but it'll be good.
Oh, you're talking about me referring to those that don't exist?
Correct. Not you guessing. We'll have the listeners guess.
Oh, you mean how many times I refer to these folks per hour? It's sort of like one of those.
How many times you refer to my potential children per hour is the question.
Desire. For grandchildren.
Right. So I feel like that would be a wholesome and fun activity to just see how often.
Yes, that would be great. And then to see how long it takes for you to...
Oh, we have a pool?
No, for you to eliminate my having this discussion about it by actually...
That's what I meant. We'll have some sort of pool.
That would be fun.
We'll work on it. I'll have the team work on it. We have Steve that is on
Steve, good morning, and welcome to the show. What's your question or comment today?
Good morning. Now, I know from listening to you all about when it get closer to retirement, need to do things right so you don't go broke on taxes. So my wife and I both have Roth IRAs, and we both have 401ks. We're going to work for a little while longer, but as we get closer to retirement, some people have told us that we need to roll our 401ks all over to the Roths if we can do it. And I know some of it's pre-tax and some of it in the Roths, some is pre-tax and some is not. So our concern is, as we get closer to retirement, how we need to do that so that we're okay on the money down the road when we retire.
Well, Steve, I wanted to say, if you don't mind me saying this, it sounds like you and your wife are incredibly patriotic.
They're paying taxes.
That's right. That you want to pay tax.
Well, no, and Steve hasn't done this yet, so let us not
that's why
mock the man. Some people have told him to do this.
I'm not mocking him. I'm having fun here.
Okay.
And I mean, the point is that you, Steve, you've never heard that on this show because I want to tell you that I am anti-Roth conversion. There's only one reason that anybody would convert to a Roth. And that's because they want to pay the taxes on their IRAs so that their children get it tax-free. That's the only reason. Paying taxes today on converting IRAs to Roths, you're working, you're in a higher tax bracket than you will be at retirement.
That's almost guaranteed.
It's almost guaranteed. We have over 600 families right now that we're doing this for, and no one
is in a higher bracket than when they were working.
No one ever. Actually, all their taxes have really gone down because they're going into. We know that for a married couple filing jointly, if you look at what your actual income is, the taxable income in retirement, if it's less than $90,000, you're in a 10% effective tax rate.
And you don't want to think about what your gross income is while you're both working because that is not what you'll be living off of. It's not what you live off of now. You live off of the net. So if you think about replacing your net income, we've automatically taken probably 30% off the top of your gross income, which means you're going to be in a significantly lower tax bracket. The other thing is, inside of when you take those 401k dollars and roll them into a traditional IRA, that's a non-taxable event. The only time that you start to pay taxes on that money is as you distribute it over time. When you get to 72, you are required to take a little bit less than 4%. But we find that most of our clients are already doing that in order to make their lives work, and they're still in that no more than 15% tax bracket.
And we're talking about federal and state together.
Right.
So any show that you hear that says you're going to pay more taxes in retirement, just turn them off. Because it's just not true.
Infeasible.
It is just not true. And I
apologize.
Apologize.
No.
Something different.
No.
Goodness.
Not at all, my friend. I'm just
making
letting you know
the man
that,
apologize.
No, there's a lot of information that's out there. A lot of it is not true. A lot of it, unfortunately, is based on marketing. And we're just going to give it to you. That's why we call it Straight Talk. You're not going to pay more taxes in retirement. In fact, you're going to pay less. You're not going to pay FICA anymore. Right?
And also the great thing here for Steve and his wife, if they've already done some things, that they can mitigate their tax bracket over time. They both have Roth IRAs. That money, once they get to 59.5, they'll be able to withdraw that without paying taxes as long as it's been in existence for 5 years, which most likely sounds like they've had this for a little bit of time here. So that means that when they're working to develop their cash flow plan, they can say, how much should we take from the IRA? What bracket are we going to be in, the traditional IRA? And then maybe we make a little bit up with the Roth so we don't go into the next bracket. So you've already created a situation for yourself where you'll be able to at least have some control over your taxes. Why create a situation where you're going to pay these huge taxes up front in order to do what you can already do without doing that?
Yeah, I mean, paying money, most people while they're working are in about anywhere from a 15 to a 20% effective tax rate.
Right.
And what I'm talking about here is, look at how much taxes you actually paid.
Versus what your gross is.
Right, your adjusted gross income. How much does that come out to be? Most people will find they're between 15 and 20%. We know that in retirement you're going to go to 10.
Right.
So don't ever pay taxes on money you're not consuming, which is why Roth conversions, in our opinion, don't make a lot of sense.
Right.
But this is Steve, we do want to thank you. This is a great phone call. And we get these from clients, too, which is they hear things other places and doesn't make sense. And we would say the answer is no. What's cool, though, for Steve is that, like you said, honey, he's got this pool of Roth assets. So does his wife. When it comes to, oh, by the way.
We want the RV.
We want to buy our last car. Yeah, right. We want to pay cash for it. We'll do that another day.
You have dollars that are non-taxable to you that you can use for large capital consumption that aren't going to impact the other dollars that you have to take to make your life continue to work.
Or at the same time, if you have other investment assets that are not retirement accounts, now you don't have to sell off those assets, maybe pay long-term capital gains or short-term capital gains to get at that money, which is sitting in that Roth tax-free. So,
and the other thing,
good job. I could never put money into a Roth, so I'm a little jealous, but
and really to quantify this, we're talking about taxes. But what that also means is every dollar that you pay in taxes to convert that 401k money into a Roth, if you don't have the money outside of your 401k, so let's say you wanted to convert $100,000 and that's going to be $20,000 of taxes. If you don't have $20,000 somewhere else that you can pay the taxes with, you've automatically cut your investing capability from $100,000, which is what you had in the 401k, down to $80,000, which means now you have $20,000 less of investable dollars inside of that Roth account. And that's really where the huge impact is, because that's a year of contributions for a lot of people, $20,000,
right.
Or that's some serious growth at the beginning. So you're really cutting your investing capabilities when you do that.
Very good. Great question. Again, we do appreciate that. Our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. 931-5877. Star 5877 from your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line.
We have another text question.
Woohoo.
With interest rates being low, is this a good time to invest in municipal bonds?
Yes. If interest rates were high, would it be a good time to invest in municipal bonds? The answer would be yes.
Depending upon your tax bracket, most likely.
Exactly. Municipal bonds do offer two things that most folks like. Number one is that generally these are being issued by municipalities that have taxpayers. So therefore, the chance of default on those bonds is very low.
Right.
And next to treasuries, they're actually the second lowest risk class that you can involve in, so they're a lot safer. Number two is their interest is generally tax preferred, where it isn't subject to federal taxes. And if you buy it in your
state in which you live,
you can have state taxes tax-free. The yields are generally running about, at this point, are running between 1% and 1.5% higher than or 2% than you're getting paid in a CD, and it's tax-free. So they can be very good as an alternative. They obviously aren't appropriate in retirement accounts.
Right, because then if whatever interest that you've earned now becomes taxable, because anything that comes out of a traditional IRA is ordinary income. It doesn't matter how you were invested.
And we tend to use bond mutual funds because we like managers are actually picking these and obviously looking at the credit quality as well as the duration.
And it provides additional diversification.
Yes. And for most of our clients, that happens. Municipal bonds happen to generally be our fixed income anchor
in non-retirement accounts.
Portfolios, exactly. So it's always good to buy. Well, I mean, the truth is, it's always good to buy. I mean, if unfortunately we're not in a situation where we're seeing declining interest rates anymore.
Right.
When you're in a place of declining interest rates, buying bonds is a fabulous place to be, because not only you're getting the coupon, whatever the interest rate is associated with that bond,
but your bond face amount becomes more valuable.
Exactly, as compared to all other bonds in the world. So if interest rates are rising, are munis the best? Well, probably from a credit quality point of view, the answer is yes.
But from a face amount value, you're going to start to see a discount there, which means you're going to see the account value look like it's less. But if you're holding those to maturity, then that's not an issue.
Right, as long as you're right, because with a fund you don't have that choice,
no.
But with individual bonds, you certainly do. But
so there are different ways to invest in municipal bonds as well. So you want to make sure that you are following what your risk tolerance is in order to do that.
Very good. That's correct. Good. That was a good text question as well.
Great questions.
Oh, we have smart listeners.
Yeah.
That's why they ask that kind of stuff. Well, good. I was going to say, while we're waiting for your phone calls, again at 931-5877, star 5877 for your cell phones, or 84126. What I'd like to do is, we just did our first. We did
John.
John. Let's go to the number one question asked by most folks. Am I a retirement rock star? So they ask when they come in, are we rock stars? And we love that, by the way. We love the fact that they've adopted this moniker that we use all the time. And let's talk about some rock stars that we recently visited. Honey, you and I did with folks in St. Charles. Paul, 64.
Okay.
Works at a major aerospace contractor located in Florissant, right at 170 and 270. Changed their name, of course, when they moved to California. And his wife, Judy, who... I like Judy.
The name?
I like the name Judy. And
she's 63 and a nurse.
You're younger, right? She's a nurse at one of the and we have some great hospitals here in the city, which is
yes,
cool.
we do.
Between the two of them, they have $900,000 of retirement plan assets. We're talking about 401k, 403b, etc., IRAs, and about $40,000 of savings outside of those accounts. They also have no mortgage debt.
Wow, that's incredible.
Woo-hoo. So they're already kind of down the road for rock stars. We know that they work for a major
corporations that offered retirement plan benefits.
And in many cases, pensions. So in their case, when we sat down and visited with them, we found out that they needed approximately $6,000 per month after taxes.
So that means when we gross it up by about 20%, give a little buffer.
That's right. They need $7,200 per month,
right,
to make their lifestyle work. Paul is going to have a pension of about $2,000 a month, as well as $2,800 a month of Social Security benefits. And Judy, her benefits will be about $1,600. So when all the faucets are turned on,
they're going to need $640 a month,
which is about $7,800 a year. So the milk money they need, the capital, to sustain that $640 a month is only $192,000. Woo! Well, they had 900, right?
I would say that makes them a rock star.
Right, but at the same time, Paul and Judy have a question. You know, have I don't want to say an issue, but like many folks, they're like, okay, we know we're going to be rock stars,
but we're not.
We're not there yet. What happens if we really want to leave
today?
Now,
right?
And we have a lot of those folks that we're looking at each other and we're going like, you know, you can leave today if you want.
Right.
Got healthcare covered. How's it going to work? Aaron talks a little bit about that with them. But so let's see what would happen if they decide to leave early. We know that Paul's pension would start today, but nothing else would. So therefore, they would actually need us to cash flow for them $5,200 a month.
And if we have to do that
2 years,
right? And if we do that over 2 years, that's $124,000.
And that's until Paul gets his Social Security.
Right.
Then we also have another year deficit between 2024 and 25 that before Judy's faucet turns on.
So that's another $38,000.
Exactly. So between the two of those, we would need them to have another $168,000 of capital. Well, when you add that to the $192 that they need for the long term for the milk money,
they're still below 50% of what their total assets are.
It's incredible. So, right?
Well, I would say they absolutely are rock stars, except for the one thing that sticks out to me a little bit is that they only have $40,000 in savings or in after-tax assets.
Yeah. And that was something that would make sense to have a discussion about, because certainly having more liquidity, i.e. assets that are outside the retirement plans that they've already paid taxes on, puts them in a position where, like our texter said,
or caller said,
buying a house,
right.
or coming back and doing or doing an RV, etc., needing large sums of capital to do that can be very expensive, unless, of course, like our last caller, Stevie Roth.
Stevie Roth.
Right? If you had a Roth, he could certainly, if they had a Roth on top of this, that would also be another pool of assets. So working on them and helping them create a pool of cash flow for when they're really done it would be a good thing to do.
I would say if Paul and Judy are deciding that, you know, they're not retiring right away, even though we figured out that they could, maybe one way to get some more after-tax dollars would be to do something that usually defies conventional wisdom, which would be to stop contributing to their retirement plans.
Great. I think you're right. You know, it's nice. I don't know if this is the same, Steve.
Do you know more on that? It's the same question. I get those directed to me automatically.
Oh, do you?
Yes, I do. You don't.
I thought that was a really nice comment.
What's that?
Well, he said, you're the only show in St. Louis that shoots straight with the listeners, giving great advice in retirement planning. We thank you. That's what we're trying to do.
Yes.
No, you don't have to agree with us, but
trying to be honest.
We're giving you our opinion.
Right.
That's what people pay us for. So.
I mean, I feel like I said something shocking and you had no response to it there.
No. I know you're on top of things, honey.
What the heck? What are you talking about? I just meant I think maybe, there may be quite a few people in this position where they've determined that they have enough money to retire, but it's not glaring, but it's significant because at $40,000 of savings, Paul and Judy don't even have 6 months. They don't even have 6 months worth of, they basically only have 6 months of their cash flow.
Right.
So, creating a little bit more after-tax dollars by saying instead of continuing to contribute to your retirement plans, maybe you start bringing that money home. And if you're not contributing to a retirement plan based on their income, they may have the opportunity to put that money into a Roth if they wanted to, or just put it into a savings account or start an after-tax investment account that they can start to work on. That might be something that would help enhance their rock star status.
You're a good advisor.
Thanks.
No, I think you're right. And, also, we didn't do anything. We also didn't give any illumination here about whether they said, they don't have a mortgage. Question is this your last home? If the answer was yes, that's great. Where's the next big money project?
Right, because they're going to have to renovate something most likely, or they're going to want to renovate something most likely, because if you're going to stay in you've been in the home for a while, they must have been in the home for a while if they've been able to pay the mortgage off completely. Well, when are they going to redo the kitchen? That's not inexpensive, or one of the bathrooms, or, maybe family or lifestyle changes. Well, we just had a client come in last week who they've decided that they're going to recarpet the entire first floor because they're having their first grandchild, and grandma does not want the grandbaby to be crawling around on, 10-year-old carpet.
Oh, gotcha.
So there's a lot of things that you might have capital expenses for.
Yes, and so creating a plan for them to withdraw this in a systematic way.
Right.
So that we're trying to be efficient in terms of not, let's say, taking
bumping
them
to another bracket.
Yes, taking into a much higher effective bracket rate. It would be extremely important to do. Just like if their mortgage wasn't paid off, and we might be saying to them, hey, do we do it over a 2-year or a 3-year period?
Mm-hmm.
So that we're not creating excess taxes. I mean, that's all important as well. So taxes are where it's at, but at the same time, having that cash flow, like you've talked about, having that grease for the wheel can be extremely important, because what happens is there's always needs for capital. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes,
you and your sister know about that.
There's needs for your capital, yes.
Right. Well, that's what I was alluding to. Of course. You're so bright. What can I say?
Thanks. I know where to get the money, indeed.
Yeah, the Bank of Mom. As
right.
Well, great. I was going to mention that it is time. I think we've got a few minutes left. While we're waiting for your calls at 931-5877, star 5877 for your cell phones, or 84126 from the text line. Yesterday was kind of cool yesterday afternoon, babe.
Yeah?
Because we're maskless now.
Apparently.
Which is very cool.
It is really cool.
And, our office, we've been, everybody's been vaccinated, et cetera. And I've noticed that our call volume is starting to pick up again, which is great.
And not only call volume, but people that want, as opposed to just phone calls or Zoom, people are wanting to come back to the office, which is always very nice. It's to see everyone we haven't seen in quite some time.
And, for those folks that are clients, they're happy that we have a private parking lot. The parking spaces are significantly larger.
And there's more of them.
So that's kind of fun. But if you've been thinking about it, hey, is it safe to go outside? Well, the county says it is, and it's always been safe.
And so does the CDC.
And we still have free and reserved parking for you. We also have the best coffee in town, so we would love to see you for a coaching session. But before we do that, we do want to do our Smart Choices About Your Healthcare segment, sponsored this week and every week by our very favorite friends,
Anthem and Aetna.
We're glad we met you.
This was an email I received last week.
Cool.
Aaron, I turned 65 in February and decided to take a Medicare Supplement Plan G through United Healthcare. I've had United Healthcare coverage through work for many years. I just started listening to you and your dad on the radio, and you've mentioned Anthem's plan quite frequently. Did I do something wrong?
Well, no.
Certainly not. Well, first of all, let's just talk about what a supplement is briefly. These are federally standardized policies that help you supplement your Medicare coverage. Medicare Part A and B make up 80%. People are looking to cover that last 20% that Medicare does not. A supplement is one way to do that. They're issued through private insurance companies. You pay a monthly premium in exchange for low to no monthly out-of-pocket expenses, or out-of-pocket expenses, rather, if you consume services.
And you buy drug supplement.
And then you'll also have to couple that with a prescription drug plan because the supplements only cover the medical side of Medicare. Prescription drug coverage is separate, as most people know, because it was created in 2006 during the Bush administration.
Right.
So, basically, what I would say is to this emailer that many people go this route, meaning that they elect a supplement or even a Medicare Advantage plan from the company that their employer had. They had employer-based coverage through. They're familiar with them. Most likely they'll get a call even from that company because they know that they're turning 65. But in my mind, you haven't done anything wrong. You're just missing out on an opportunity here.
And I think this is one that, you are, that we've been told, the top Medicare writer in the state of Missouri for all these companies, which is very cool. I'm very proud of you.
Why, thank you. Well,
not on the Advantage side, but also on the Medicare side.
Right, the supplement side.
Supplement side.
But here's where you're missing your opportunity. For the entire time that you were working, you didn't get to choose your health insurance. Maybe you got to choose between a few plans that your employer provided you the options. Now you have the opportunity to choose whatever type of supplement or Medicare Advantage plan that suits you the best. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be coming from the insurance company that your employer chose your group health insurance through. So you're missing your opportunity there. But then the other piece of this is if you go direct to the insurance company, you're also missing your opportunity for no-cost advice. Brokers, because they earn commission, should not be charging to visit with you to discuss what your Medicare options are. If you're working with someone that doesn't work directly for the insurance company, they should be able to show you many options across both Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage plans. So you get to choose the option that you like and work with a professional. You also should have access to them to help you if something goes awry with the plan. If you get a claim that you don't think that you should have to pay, if you get a card and your name is spelled wrong, if you never get your cards in the mail, as opposed to you having to call the insurance company, the person that you worked with is being paid. So it might be nice if you put them to work, and that's really what they're there for, to help out with.
And that's also why you maintain a staff. That's
right, to assist with all of that. But the other thing is, the email really was about, is Anthem's plan better than what I have? Well, like we mentioned, on a benefits basis, they're required to be identical. They have to offer Anthem Plan G and United Healthcare Plan G have to offer you the same medical benefits because they're federally standardized. They have to follow all the rules and regulations of Medicare. But they're also able to offer you a little bit more if they want to, and Anthem does that.
Oh, yeah.
So for a premium that's very in line, if not on par with all the other insurance companies, they're also going to offer you at no extra charge silver sneakers. And that's something that usually only the Medicare Advantage plans offer to you. So you get a little extra benefit with Anthem, and you don't have to pay anything more for it.
So what you're talking about is eligibility to join and participate in gyms without paying a monthly fee.
That's exactly right. So that should be some savings for you.
Well, it should be. And again, what's neat is that we do know that, let's be honest, United Healthcare does a lot of advertising.
Yes, they do.
They also do a co-branding with AARP, which is fine.
They're also a major insurer in the group health insurance market.
Right. So at the end of the day, it's always good to shop. We have a process. Aaron's here. Love to talk to you if you want. 314-863-0008. Again, 314-863-0008. But at the same time, the cool part is we're putting these two things together, financial and medical, and we'll see you next week.
The opinions opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the Retirement Coach. We'll be back next week at 10 a.m. here on the Big 550 KTRS.